Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting race of the Super Metroid Randomizer Multi-Category Tournament 2022. I am your host, and I am joined by Aussie. How are you doing, Aussie?
Hey Zeb, doing pretty good. Real excited for this race. Got some pretty well-known runners here. Idlechild racing Ruya. Idlechild, I guess I know best from working on the practice hack. So putting in a lot of contribution to community efforts. And then
Yeah,
Ruya, world record holder for a couple categories. Max GT percent being one.
yeah, Ruya definitely a very, very skilled runner. A little bit less experienced in Rando, I'd say, than some of the other runners in this tournament, but just on pure Super Metroid kind of knowledge, I think that he is one of the top ones out there.
Yeah, for sure. So this is a 2-2 matchup. So their tournament life is on the line here. Already at the point where to advance, they'd have to win a play-in race. But at 3 losses, you're completely out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that play-in race too, because I think there will be approximately 10 runners making it and 3 not. Um, so it'll be interesting to see because only a couple of runners will miss from that play-in race, but it looks like we're off here. And we are doing the settings for this week are major, minor, area, randomizer. So basically, major items are randomized, so all of the E-tanks, reserve tanks, and unique items are all randomized. And then the areas are randomized as well, so every portal that would lead from one area to another leads to a different random area, or maybe the same area, but we'll have to find that out.
We just got double weave moonfalls down the shaft.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, don't see that too often. Yeah, here we have a race between Samus and Kirby. Buff Kirby and the Kirby ship being a little popular in this tournament, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a little bit disappointed that we haven't seen more of the Among Us guy used. I think that's my new favorite one, but we do have a spring ball at Morph Ball. That is a controversial item that I like a lot. I think that it makes suitless things a lot easier, and it makes a lot of other kind of stuff just nicer in general.
Yeah, so
Um,
Spring Ball stands out to me as an item that you make a lot of use of in Max GT for very niche room strats. Uh,
yeah,
so we can see what the runners make use of it.
and it looks like we do have early power bombs, so both of these runners will have the option to go to check the portal behind Morph Ball. I really like checking that portal. I think that in these area randomizers, getting more knowledge is really, really, really valuable. Um, it's really easy to abandon a check and have it be something like Kraid, or even not just having it be like Kraid. Like, imagine it's the back of Rex Ship, and then you find the front of Rex Ship later, and you don't know that that's the back of Rex Ship. You might want to go all the way through. Things like that just come up so often that I think that checking every portal if you have the chance is very important.
As far as this portal goes, I definitely like taking the check every time. We did see a little divergence here, 3 going up to Billy Mays, looking for missile packs.
Yeah,
But in this mode, it's common enough to find missiles just along your path that don't usually need to go up there. And that's in East Meridia at...
and Ruya skipping Awakening missiles as well. I think that he just forgot that one if he's going up to check Billy Mays. Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to check Billy Mays and then skip Awakening missiles.
So, cost of going up to Billy Mays is doesn't have the power bombs to check this door transition, so it's gonna have to abandon this check.
And the cost of skipping Awakening missiles is that he doesn't have supers now, so...
Yeah, does hold a missile lead.
hmm We'll have to see if there are more supers. I'm guessing there will be around. Otherwise, he could get in a little bit of trouble, but... And it looks like there's a super there anyway, so... It's just one super of damage that he's missing now, not just the first supers.
Yeah, the very randomizer seed's either gonna hide all except for one super pack, or you'll find them just throughout.
Yeah, pretty much.
But this means they have all their minor ammo types already, so not gonna have to hunt down any of that. And can that just decide where to route as they find entrances.
hmm
And first check we expect to see is Bomb Terizo, who has a major. The other majors here are Gauntlet, E-Tank, and Terminator, where they don't yet have enough power bombs to make a clean Gauntlet check, so might not see that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unlikely we see the Gauntlet, especially with that reserve tank there.
That
It can be
healthy tomato.
valuable info to have that if it's specifically charge or if it's speed and then you can spark out. But I think in general it's just not really worth it to check that Gauntlet.
Yeah, part of being major minor. I find that this item placement is more diluted than Countdown and Chozo with all the E-tanks and reserve tanks. And also because of the suit restrictions, all that together makes Gauntlet check a little less worth.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe in Chozo it's a little bit more worth it to peek it early. But I also actually feel like in Chozo you can afford the time loss a little bit less because the seeds tend to be a little bit more linear. I feel like the less linear a seed is, the more of those kinds of information checks you can afford to take.
And we get both runners going left. Had the option of going right towards the moat, but heading through Terminator has this E-tank that you don't really want to pass off for too long because the major is such an easy place to check.
Yeah, and especially if it's something like speed or charge, it can really change the outcome of a race if you ended up not getting that.
And we get
Both runners
red.
turning around at Red Tower. I kind of like that. I like checking this portal too. In the back of our ship, like I was talking about earlier, I think that's actually a really pretty important one to find, just so you don't have that on your mind later.
Yeah, pretty common to see runners find a hub location and turn around to check nearby entrances. But from where they are right now, we have X-Ray and Spazer as the majors, and we're
Yep,
not
and
getting an early X-Ray check because that's a little bit dangerous.
yeah, unfortunate, but can't blame them with one E, one reserve.
Yeah, 1E, 1 reserve, and Spring Ball. It's you can survive it even if you fail,
Ooh,
but it's dying
there's
not to.
gravity.
And yeah, it gets a gravity suit. So gravity suit opens up many options down the line. Now they can go through that back of wreck ship.
Yep, they can also, idlechild knows that Meridia, the front hat of East Meridia, is behind Morph. Could decide to do that at some point, especially if they find a way through Batwoon.
Yeah, that was the good entrance to East Meridia, but it's in the bad part of Criteria.
Yeah. Oh, and Vanilla Portal.
Yeah, so now they're surrounded by area transitions, and you gotta decide how to play it out.
Oh, and there's the other end of East Meridia.
Yep, don't have the items to kill off Dragon, so probably not the time to go there. But being in Red Tower, it's usually pass through here multiple times during the seed, so not too bad to get back to that one.
Looks like idlechild turning back around. I probably would have gone through that one. Yeah, it looks like... Or, nope, they're gonna head back. I think that this one seems a little bit better to me than, the tube one, just because you're already here. But I don't mind, going back up Red Tower and checking those portals as well. These portals in West Meridia, there's only one, or there are two left, actually, but they're pretty spread out anyway. And the Mama Turtle check is kind of tough to get with this item loadout, so...
Yeah, with this, you do a spring ball jump off the wall to get to the item.
Mm-hmm.
You are hoping that top of Red Tower is a workable transition. It's like the only concern.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even take a save at the broken tube or crab shaft before coming up here. And then same could be said for Ruya, like
Yeah.
saving halfway through West Meridia.
Interesting. So this, I probably wouldn't go through this with 1E, 1 reserve. Not yet, at least. My
It's like
philosophy... Go ahead.
Upper North here is a good place to find, but when you're still on low E-tank count, you can't do much with it. So it's just a turnaround.
Yeah, my philosophy is normally to save, the Bubble Mountain Norfair checks until late. Because, normally, if you try to do them early, you're spending a lot of time farming while you're doing it. Where if you go do it late, when you have maybe better movement items, maybe more E-tanks, maybe the ability to do a Crystal Flash or two, you can spend a lot less time farming and really save a lot of time in that section.
Yep, that's true. I kind of think of Upper Norfair as having more likely to have the good items you're looking for. And if not, then it'll have E-tanks, which skip the farming.
Looks like idlechild picking or finding wreck ship, so that's a good portal. Definitely one that needs to be completed.
Yeah, it's
And
a good place.
did Ruya not check the top of West Meridia, that portal?
Yeah, top was skipped. That was
Okay, yeah.
to get up there. It's a pretty tight gravity jump.
Well, with Spring Ball, you can also gravity jump into Spring Ball jump, and then that makes it quite a bit easier. But
True. Maybe just doesn't want to spend the time getting up there though.
mm-hmm. Did he skip Mom Turtle though too? Didn't he?
Yes. Also skipped that. Just
Okay.
went down to the map area and then reset back to the entry. So that's a little harder to agree with. Passing up that major.
Mm-hmm. Oh, even if you like don't think you can get it, I think that. Well, I guess that's like similar to the Gauntlet check then, although it can actually be a suit this time.
Yeah, and then we're not entirely sure how practiced Ruya is with the randomizer tech.
Yeah. It's not like you do a whole ton of spring ball jumps in vanilla Super Metroid. Fight would have been pretty tough with one E-tank and one reserve without any suits, but with gravity, flames only do 10 damage, so should be pretty easy for both of these runners.
Yep. And then always keep an eye on your power bomb count entering the Fantoon room.
Mm-hmm.
They have enough to get out. And
Yep.
you usually get a drop, but not always.
Yeah, you want that magic too, or you want some way to be able to break the blocks, like a Spazer or a Wave Beam, and then only one is fine. can't both finish Fantune at like the same time. So
So
Ruya gaining quite a
Ruya
bit of
gaining some
time
time.
there.
And now here they are with a boss down, and they have a wreck ship open, 3 majors available, but how many are they going to decide to check?
We'll definitely at least see right side super. We already know the back of Rex ship. Both runners have seen it, so there's less of an incentive to go all the way through Rex ship. Or maybe more depending on where the runners want to end up. But I don't think that you really want to end up at the backing criteria on that side of criteria. And I don't think that either of these runners have checked the very top of Red Tower, so that's one of those checks that can really easily get isolated. It takes a while to go up the elevator, so a lot of times people tend to skip that if they find something good at the other top of Red Tower check. Like this was Wreck Ship, so both of them skipped that. So that would be at least on my mind to want to go back to.
Yeah, transition feels like it's right there, but then each elevator ride is about 10 seconds, and it just goes real slow.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it makes sense to make your wreck ship checks and then exit back out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe you could follow it.
Looks like both of them skipping the E-Tank first and coming up here. I think I would have gone to the E-Tank first in case it's speed.
Yeah, I think I would have liked the E-Tank first here, this position. Also, another time to watch your power bomb count.
Mm-hmm. I think that Ruya's count is really bad, and I think Idlechild might be... No, Idlechild has Spring Ball, so they're fine. Actually,
Yeah,
no, they don't need to
Ruya,
worry. Yeah, Ruya's fine, too. He doesn't need to... Well, he's
like,
not going to check, I
they're
guess,
okay
the...
on power bombs. It's just
Mhm.
Ruya can't check the reserve item.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're seeing Ruya pass by more miners than Idlechild is.
Oh, and Idlechild wasting a power bomb there, kind of... not ideal here.
That actually costs the reserve check.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting if something really good, like Various Suit, is at the reserve and both runners just don't know about the entire seed. Okay, yeah, I guess. They couldn't check it without another power bomb. So actually that didn't cost the reserve check. They would have needed 4 anyway. At least from this end.
That sounds right. That takes a lot of power bombs.
Mm-hmm.
So they stocked up on E-Tanks, which is going to help with upper Norfair runs, since they have found an interest too. Ruya skipping the wreck ship E-Tank location.
Yep, and then heading back out to the red tower transition, probably checking the top.
And then Idlechild is going to head back into wreck ship and give us
Mhm.
that check.
I'd imagine that Idlechild will come back out through the front again anyway. Oh, maybe... Oh, and there's Croc. I normally like finding Croc in these. Just, like, not super quick, but kind of nice, like, on most loadouts, being able to get 2 major items without having to worry too much.
From watching the seeds that I've seen, like, it definitely feels like making this E-Tank check feels a lot better since the door is open and you can just leave after the one item.
Mm-hmm.
Going all the way down to the grapple location still takes just as long, though.
Yeah. Ooh, and there's a charge beam. So, idlechild getting paid off coming to the Rekship B tank.
Yeah, it's one of the big items that you want to find, especially.
Mhm.
So that's a big edge for idlechild.
Especially given that Ruya has 5 supers so far. Like, it's not like we're looking at a Ruya with like 30 supers at this point.
Yeah, like as I said earlier, I think he is passing by more miners, so
Mhm.
might be playing for a charge finish.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me too.
Easy first try green gate glitch.
Yep, Ruya very skilled at GT categories, so no surprise there.
Yeah, and then this is the way that you want to take to get to the grapple location, only
Yeah,
having spring ball for movement.
yep, you can do it the other way with Spring Ball, but this way is faster. And it looks like Idlechild will be going to Croc as well. We'll see if they decide to check both items as well.
Yeah, so from idlechild's perspective, they're on one suit and a charge beam, which is suits being the kind of the key items you're looking for.
Oh, and interesting. Looks like they're leaving, which will mostly end up working out for them. Spazer would actually be kind of nice with no other beams at this point. But probably not worth a Croc fight for. Unless they literally don't find another beam the whole rest of the race.
Yeah, pretty much. You kind of expect to find other beams. Then we saw on Ruya's side, they went up through the grapple tutorial, but I think you can get up with spring ball, and then gravity suit for the water parts. But decided to turn around.
Yeah, turning around is probably the better decision there.
So we're gonna have both the runners come back down Red Tower.
I think I like this. I like going over to the other portals on the right side of the ship here. Still cannot check Gauntlet and get back out with this item loadout. So that's a little unfortunate, but do get 2 transitions that are pretty close to each other.
Yeah, we're still only on one power bomb pack. And you want to have 2 before making it to the gauntlet checks. Still can't do East Meridia without a way through Batoon Hallway. So just going to come over here past the surface and check the moat and the crab transitions. It's still the case that they know where an Upper Norfair is, and now they have a little bit better health to go through that. But
Yeah,
would have to farm to fully clear that out.
I think only Ruya knows that, because Idlechild didn't check the grapple. So Ruya knows where one of the Upper Norfair portals is, but Idlechild does not know that yet. And speaking of Norfair, there's a Lower Norfair portal, the bad one. Can normally kind of avoid that one, if possible, during most seeds, unless it really routes better in certain situations, or is forced.
Yep, definitely avoid it right now. Not having a Varia suit. But it could wind up that they want to come back to Criteria after clearing out Lower Norfair. We don't know quite yet where all the entrances are. We're playing a area randomizer mode where sections of the map are all shuffled around, and the runners have to build a map of the world as they play the seed.
Idlechild going for this gravity jump. This gravity jump's a bit tougher than it seems. Crouching helps a lot, so... And they got it. Nice. And it's Kraid. Okay, so that's definitely a required portal.
Yeah,
Found the two easy bosses now.
Kraid's an entrance you definitely want to find. Earlier the better. Uh, if just because it's easy to major items
You know, looks
and
like
required boss.
Ruya going for the CWJ and gets it instead of the spring ball jump, which I think is a lot easier.
Yeah, they had a couple ways across the moat, using spring ball to bounce on the item pedestal, gravity jump or CWJ. But they both made it over into Kraid's lair.
Mm-hmm. Idlechild remembering that he has gravity and turning it back on. Pretty scared of the damage that Kraid would do otherwise.
But gravity not protecting from spikes, and that's what Kraid's lair is mostly full of. So unfortunate.
Yep. And Ruya gets the missile Kraid quick kill.
Yeah, that's a joy to see.
Just an E-tank behind Kraid.
And then Ruya again, making up a bunch of time on a faster boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that missile quick kill, I guess, first shown off by Hoda Ruby.
Legend of the game.
Yeah, just in the case where you want to fight Kraid with only missiles, no supers.
Some of these area randos where you get Kraid super early, like behind Morph, sometimes you don't have supers either. Sometimes that can be pretty useful.
Yeah, that's something that we've seen in some of the recent seeds. And if you do find Kraid like that early, you still want to take the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Showing off a little change to the bomb blocks at the bottom of the moat. They're now shop blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of the couple of edits made as part of the randomizer.
Yeah, it used to be just the bottom block where it was normally a bomb block was a shot block, but they changed that to have 3 blocks at the bottom be shot blocks so that even if you don't have Morph, you're not stuck. I think they changed that like a couple years ago now.
Hey, is it time for Upper Norfair? Idlechild hasn't gone through West Meridia, so still has that option. Ruya hasn't seen this retro Brinstar transition.
Okay, so this is interesting. Yeah, I think that Ruya will probably at least continue into left sandpit at the very least, just to see what's there. Then they might reset to ship.
Yeah. We just saw Ruya save at the ship, so can take that reset and not have to backtrack through all this. Sandpit, the only entrance, or the only item that they can check down there in East Meridia.
Yeah, not even enough power bombs to Crystal Flash into Bot Moon or Shack Tool.
Thinking.
Turning around. Well, I don't agree with turning around either. You reset back to the ship, or you check left sandpit here, I think. But maybe he didn't actually save, maybe he just refilled.
Well, not resetting is going to be costing a good chunk of time.
Mm-hmm.
And idlechild is already closer to the play that they want to make, as Ruya is just backtracking through the world.
Mm-hmm. idlechild also skipping Mom Material for now. They might check this portal and then go back to get that.
Yeah, West Meridia is a bit funny to route all the area transitions because to make that Mama Turtle check, you have to move farther away from a nearby transition.
Yeah. But it looks like idlechild will be going into Upper Norfair.
Yeah, Upper Norfair has 5 majors and plenty of area transitions, so big density play here.
Mm-hmm. And Ruya finding another power bomb pack, so he can do Gauntlet now.
Yeah, in good position to make a gauntlet check. So
That power bomb is, yeah, a little low for idlechild.
at this stage, how valuable is gauntlet check still? Like,
Um,
now that you know you have a gravity suit.
I mean, I actually think it's pretty valuable without any movement items. And without charge. We know where charge is, but Ruya doesn't. And now you know where East Meridia is too, so an ice or a speed would be good to get through that.
Yeah, that's true. Like you could be expecting an ice or a speed here, and then charge is always a big prize.
Mm-hmm. Even like a space jump, I think here would be really pretty good. idlechild.
Yeah, gotta be a little careful with this farm.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find while farming in heated rooms that you're gonna be getting a mix of health and ammo drops, and so your health doesn't really fill up all that fast at first. And if you're also bumping into bugs or letting them run off screen, then that's gonna delay your health refill.
I think idlechild was trying to do what they were doing because I don't think that they have an angle down button. What it seems like.
Yeah, let's just watch the arm pumps. Look for any angle downs. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see any.
Definitely want that super at this point. And a reserve tank, the worst item you can find when you're hell running here.
Yeah, this speed missile, it's super easy to check it and then like skip it. Where kind of what you want to do is just blind jump into it
Yep,
before seeing what it
that's
is.
what I do too. But, I think not having that super is actually pretty kind of a big deal for idlechild here. Yeah, and you definitely don't want to use missiles to kill these, to farm these guys. Because then you'll start to get missile drops instead of health drops. And that's not really ideal.
Yeah, also passing on the X-ray check once again.
Mm-hmm. At this point, it's a lot safer with as much energy as he has, and if you were really, like, worried about it, and he wanted to do it, he could, take the energy refill before doing it, too. But just looks like he doesn't want to do it, so.
Yeah, might be waiting for it to come into logic.
Mm-hmm. Just not that far off from. It's like a bombs or an ice off.
Maybe even wanted to take that Slitter's refill before coming to Upper Norfair here.
Yeah, that probably would have been a good play. Although, you do have, a refill on the way anyway, with the Croc refill, or, Nutella refill.
Yeah, Nutella refill actually a little better than Slitter's.
And there's a space jump, so finally get a movement item for idlechild other than Spring Ball. And that makes Norfair Reserve actually a lot easier to check. When you don't have to worry as much about I think the Dragons, or whatever they are, that come out of the acid, or the lava.
Yeah, space jump's a great item to have for this section of the map. I can certainly see runners lose a lot of time getting over to this reserve area, and then
Mhm.
also going through the cathedral run. It saves just more health than you'd think. We're getting that frame perfect wall jump on the left side, giving up, going to the right side. Slightly
Yeah, the right
easier, but
side
still hard.
is. I think it's quite a bit easier on the right side. Um, but and you don't have to do what Ruya's doing actually. You can just jump straight from that first ledge to the. He's doing 2 wall jumps there. You only have to do 1, making it basically twice as hard.
Just showing off. So this will be the space jump pickup for Ruya. And then is he just going to be only behind on the speed check after this?
Idlechild surviving on 3 energy. I think that they just took a save, so I think they're better off resetting that save than trying to farm here.
Yeah, farming up is like extremely slow to get enough
Mhm.
health to go into the other farm.
Yeah, they're. I would think about going and farming the croc bugs instead, just because it's easier to get to. I think it's a slightly worse farm, but you're not gonna mess up getting into it like you might with speed.
I know on low enough health, that's a farm that I like to go to instead of the back cave. Rhea actually has the ammo for Crystal Flash, so it has
Yeah,
that as an option instead of health farming.
that's actually pretty big here. Can save quite a bit of time with 1 crystal flash. This is not really the optimal room reset for Idlechild, having to lose 10 health every time they reset the room that um with that door transition.
Yeah, if you're resetting the room for more farming, then probably better to go to the Speedway farm. Plus, you can clean out the Novas in the Morph Maze for more health drops.
It looks like they have decided to do that. Looks like they're thinking about Croc Nutella refill. Oh,
In a little bit of danger here.
I just barely survived that.
Yeah, with Gravity Suit, you can stand in the lava and shoot at the bugs, but
Hmm.
I forget if that's what you want to do or not. But I could see Nutella refill being a good way to get the health back. I
Hmm.
spent enough time on this health farm. Only thing is, it puts them in a decent position to go over to the high jump and ice beam checks from here.
Hmm. Yeah, I would consider saving, like farming back up. Oh, okay. Going this way. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And Norfair Reserve was just an E-tank, so it's not going to some that much.
Could take a save here at the CAX, like if you want to go back to the chronic boost transition later
Mhm.
on. But there's a good chance you want to keep the two majors you find here. Plus, who
Yeah.
knows where the areas are going to go.
Yeah, odds are, at this point, one of them is pretty likely to go to Green Brinstar.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of areas that aren't Green Brinstar at this point.
Mm-hmm. We've got that top of West Meridia portal. We've got Torian. We've got back of Lorne Warfare. I think that might be it. Other than other Norfair for Norfair transitions. And Green Brinstar.
Yeah, there's certainly not many left. So that kind of points to Green Brinstar having Arvaria suit or a way through East Meridia. I guess we still haven't seen Mama Turtle yet.
Yep, we still have not seen Mama Turtle. With space jump, it's a lot easier to check now than it was earlier. Ruya doing that whole high jump in reverse, going and getting the miner at the top first, and then going down through the morph ball tunnel on the way out.
Narrowly makes it under the gate on the way to ice. And we're going to get an ice beam check at about the same time.
Mm-hmm. I had a lot of sync this race, where idlechild will pull ahead for a little while, and then Ruya will make that time back up. But that wave beam is really good for idlechild. With already having charge beam, any beam was really important to find. And wave beam means that their beam, at this point at least, isn't horrible. It's still pretty bad, but
Yeah, just charge and wave still feels strong because that enables X factors.
Mhm.
And at this point in time, could still get value out of those on Ridley and Dragon.
Mhm.
But while it looks like we have the sync going on, Idlechild does have charge beam advantage, so doesn't
Mhm.
has spent too much time looking for miners. And charge beam was in wreck ship at the E-tank location, which Ruya skipped earlier on.
Okay, I like this a lot from idlechild, turning around and checking this portal before continuing through. At this point, you're kind of running out of places for Torian to be, and you really don't want to orphan one that Torian ends up being at. Because at the end of the game, it's really easy to have like 2 or 3 spots left where Torian could be. At this point, it would have to be 3, not 2, but um, only having one that it could be at is really good to know about, so you don't end up wasting a ton of time going to one spot where you think Torian might be when it ends up being at the other. Oh, and there's Varia suit.
Yeah, that's our various suit. So when Idlechild does get to that, he's going to be looking for speed or ice for full logical go mode.
Mm-hmm.
But my take on Green Brinstar is that the area is actually really long to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And if you run into a Lorne Warfare without a Varia suit, then it takes just as long to go back through it, turn all the way
Mm-hmm.
around.
That
So
Lorne
Ruya
Warfare's
on
pretty interesting.
35-35 now.
Mm-hmm.
And Brinstar Reserve is a big area for miners, so might be able to help out his super count there.
Yeah, still about, I would say about 6-ish supers off from like a kind of comfortable go mode. 5 supers and 1 missile off from just minimum, but
Yeah, it's
And
like he might not be wanting to look for ammo finish here, but we know that he's not likely to find charge beam.
yeah. Ruya doing the miner first, planning on doing reverse mock ball.
Yep, did see a super pack under the bridge, so wants to pick that up.
Mhm.
It makes sense not to want X-ray at this point. Doesn't have charge or plasma.
Also, did Ruya skip Edikuns?
Yeah, passed by Edikins.
Okay, yeah.
So actually completely skipping Edikins.
I'm not sure maybe if you can Crystal Flash Clip, it's okay, but I probably would still check that. Like, and that would have to be a suitless Crystal Flash Clip too, not the easy mode version with bombs.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a Torian here, though. Oh, no. There has to be only one or
So
two entrances left. Where
Torian is at single chamber now.
Yeah. The other upper Norfair exit.
Mm-hmm. And I like this a lot from idlechild going into Lower Norfair from here. This is something that you have to do anyway. And you get a couple of checks on the way, so instead of doing checks in Green Brinstar where you don't necessarily have to you're doing checks where you do have to go eventually anyway. As long as you're okay with this loadout in Lower Norfair, I like it.
Yeah, this loadout is pretty comfy. Like both suits, some movement, 30 supers, and charge for backup.
Should Ruya know that this is Torian? Is Ruya...
I don't think they've seen the back of
Oh,
Lord
yeah.
Norfair.
Yep, they haven't seen that.
But again, running into a bad entrance that they gotta turn around, do some backtracking for. But this Lore Norfair play is going to get 2 major items. And then if you want to end up at the front of Lore Norfair, you could opt for a screw attack. Idlechild's still just looking for that ice or speed to get through East Meridia. But then if you do make the choice to go to screw, then you're leaving behind your 2 other Greenburn star checks.
Mm-hmm. Although, it's kind of risky to check those Greenburn star checks if you think that the other end might be Torian. That's a pretty slow, like, trek back. Ruya.
Yeah, I think if you don't get this right away, you want to reset the room.
Mm-hmm. I think that he might have just given up too fast. I think that he just didn't do it for long enough and expected it to start earlier, but I'm not sure.
But still, it is a trick where if it does go wrong, then you're just soft locked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't know too much about it, I don't mind just going through this way instead.
Have you tried out the like if you get stuck shooting at the blocks again to get unstuck?
I have not tried that. I've never actually gotten stuck with that before, so I've never had reason to like worry about it too much, but
yeah, it's not something I've looked at since I first was learning the trick. So a quick farm for Idlechild.
Mm-hmm.
Gets to open the Ridley fight with an X Factor, save on supers. Maybe this will be our Mama Turtle check.
Looks like Ruya's just thinking for a little bit. Happens a lot in these area randos. It's a lot of information to process.
Yeah, it's part of area rando. You have to be on top of building your map, and then also use that map to decide where you want to go. And then it's also a randomizer and a race, so decide how you want to play it out as a race. Maybe guess what your opponent's doing and how they're going about the seed. Just a lot to think about.
Mama Turtle, we have speed. Wow. So that's huge. Especially given how, I guess, close to ammo Ruya actually has gotten at this point. I think that speed is going to be enough to put them in the lead from here.
Yeah, his ammo is looking much better right now. 45 is pretty close. It still has like 2 boss zones to go through for more miners.
And speed is actually one of those items that really helps you get a few more miners if you want them. Like being able to check Aqueduct quickly, being able to get Main Street missiles, stuff like that does add up when you're trying to get items quickly, and like a lot of times you end up like running out of the quick item checks. So speed kind of helps you not to do that.
Yep, can come right out this door, get Main Street speed locked item.
Or not.
Or not. Speed is an item that makes you reevaluate your route through the seed.
Mm-hmm.
You
Makes
just picked up a major
much
progression.
faster.
So what do we think he's thinking? It's either Lower Norfair or East Meridia, or is he trying to figure out where Torian is?
I think he's planning his entire route at this point. I think he's thinking, is it better to go Lower Norfair and then Meridia, or Meridia then Lower Norfair based on where Torian is? And how do I get to the place that I want to go to at this point?
Yeah, and then where you end up after these boss kills can turn into minutes of time of running around to get to Torian. And I want to say front of Lower Norfair was at the moat area, like with the crabs.
Yeah, that's right. Just a missile at Mickey Mouse. Missile is no longer worth picking up with Charge Beam. Missiles don't make the Mother Brain fight faster, no matter what beam combo you have, if you've got Charge. But Supers can still be worth picking up until you get a decent beam, like, of Ice Wave quality or better, or so.
Supers, not like technically worth the time to pick them up in a lot of cases, just because it takes time to go over to the location and pick up the item, and sit through the fanfare. But it definitely makes fights like feel better.
Yeah, and if you've got multiple bosses, like you've got a Ridley and a Mother Brain left, then sometimes it can be worth it with even like a little bit stronger beam combos like a Wave Spacer Charge.
Yeah, like right now we're looking at ammo Dragon kill with Batoon before that.
Maybe a speed Dragon kill, but... Or, unless you're talking about idlechild. But...
I was, but it's pretty likely it gets to that speed before
Hmm.
getting to Dragon.
Yeah, it's pretty unlikely that ice is available before Dragon. Well, it's actually, I don't know. It's pretty likely that it is, but it's probably in a pretty bad spot at this point.
Not too many places unchecked.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty likely it's speed locked even, like at a waterway or at a wreck ship reserve.
But Aqueduct having double pack of supers, really good for Ruya. But
Hmm.
like really close on ammo now. Just needs a few
Yeah,
more items.
just needs one more super and that's enough, or two more missiles. And probably like one more than that would be comfy. Oh, there's the ice beam. So,
Yeah, so that's logically behind the speed booster.
hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised if Idlechild knew the Crystal Flash clip, but
Hmm.
the Morph Bombs version.
Yeah, the baby mode crystal flash clip.
We haven't seen Morph Bombs either in the seed. Probably also behind speed somehow.
The sea just knows. It looks like
There's,
Idlechild going to East Meridia.
yeah,
Doesn't make a lot of sense
and
to go down this way otherwise.
and does know that this is East Meridia.
Hmm.
There's just the sandpit check that they can check.
Hopefully that's bombs for their sake.
I mean, they get plenty of time to think of a plan for when they get there.
Oh, nice spike suit from Ruya. Doesn't really have a great place to use it now that he's wasted the opening spark.
That spike
It looks
suit
like he's just gonna
not helping.
ammo kill Dragon so that he doesn't waste his spark. Or maybe not.
Using ammo probably still speeds up the fight.
Yeah, it definitely does. Going for it again, and getting it again. Nice.
Yeah, what's this spring ball from the floor set up to get in position for that? Haven't seen that before.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, and there's high jump. So that's a nice item to find. Will allow it to do a baby skip as well as just move through the seed a good amount faster. Means that
Yeah, it
I was.
means the seed was locking some of the good items behind that speed booster find.
Hmm.
They did get early gravity suit, and that speed booster was available pretty early with the spring ball. They just didn't decide to go there until late.
Yeah. It looks like Idlechild. Did Idlechild not even check left sandpit? Just went straight for this?
I didn't see.
Don't let that Metroid kill you. Oh no. They should have turned gravity back on at that point, I think, and just. Or actually.
They were probably expecting their beam to do a little more damage
Hmm.
to the Metroid.
Why I like using the Metroid stuck in the um
Yeah,
I
this
don't
top
know.
center one here.
Yeah, that one. I like sitting, and then you can just roll out of danger once you're done.
Yeah,
Damaging
with
down.
the other ones, usually they want to clear out of the way by killing it. and then that just gets you a health drop and can bring you over the health threshold.
Hmm. Idlechild just had a vendetta against that specific Metroid. Decides to kill it.
I'm gonna set up for this Crystal Flash clip again. Just on 17 power bombs. And the trick is pretty hard to get, even with that many tries.
Yeah, this is not actually a lot of tries for this trick. I go for this trick sometimes, and oh no, again. I don't like to go for it unless I have around 25-ish power bombs, so I can have like 15 tries.
Yeah, it's about the number that I like to have. And I also find that if you're going for this, it means like the rest of your seed is going to be kind of slow.
Mm-hmm.
Except in this
Yeah.
case where the next item is Ice Beam.
Yeah, normally when you're going for this, a lot of times it feels like either you're doing it because you're skipping a ton of items, or you're doing it because you like have charge, and you're okay with not having a sub skip. There you go, idlechild. Damaging down to enough now. Oh, that's an interesting setup. That's nice. So, it looked like they jumped to time the second jump. So they laid the power bomb and then jumped again, with that first jump kind of being a buffer to give them a good cue for the second jump.
It's definitely very impressive how they pulled that off first try. It's a frame perfect trick where your movements like are not frame perfect. You don't have a super precise control over when you unmorph and when you jump to the frame. But that trick does show up in the practice hack. There's a setting for that. Lets you practice it.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're gonna see here is both remaining boss fights at around the same time. And from there, it'll just be a race to Torian.
Mm-hmm. Ruya does still need one more ammo item at this point. I guess technically doesn't, but it would be very beneficial to have one more.
Hopefully, it does have a good sense of the ammo counts needed to fight Mother Brain.
I'm curious if idlechild hadn't died those couple of times, if... I think they'd probably be in the lead still.
It kind of seems that way. Both hitting the bosses at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
East Meridia typically faster to get out of, but it's hard to say with how the areas are shuffled around, which is closer to Torium.
So the back end, I think you want to go out the back, or... Yeah, you have to want to go out the back here, I think. So the back end went to, where did it go to again? Was it a red tower?
I think in Red Tower. Yeah.
And then from there, you can get to West Meridia, which then you can get to Norfair. But idlechild actually doesn't know where Torian is. I think the idlechild has missed a couple of transitions.
If that's the case, that could be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Lose time looking for Torian.
They might try to go all the way through Green Brinstar to the front end of that. So I think all that they have left is front of Green Brinstar, which leads to West Meridia top. And then
Pretty sure
they have...
they've seen that one.
Have they? If they have, then I think that they have seen everything. But...
Yep, did have enough ammo for a Dragon finish. Just 20 supers or equivalent in ammo.
And skipping those high jump boots, that... Can't really blame them too much for that. The items left that would be really good for them are Plasma, High Jump, and Speed. But they've still got quite a few items left that it could be that are duds, too.
I'm not sure how much time just high jump would save here on its own. It's like combined with speed, you get a lot better movement with it.
Okay, I guess, yeah, without... Yeah, you're right, I was thinking with speed. That does make it significantly worse.
And they already have space jump for that jump height.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like both of them going at the back entrance of their respective areas. And this means Ruya gets to look for miners, but kind of skipping them.
Yeah, skip... Yeah, okay, he's turning around. That's technically enough.
Yeah, every missile pack helps when you're this close.
I would want one more super at this point. I normally like to have one extra super that gives you 3 supers of leeway in the fight, which I find is plenty. There's another missile, so this is enough without refills now, but it's exactly enough without any refills.
Yeah, I feel like in a Mother Brain 2 fight, you kind of expect to miss one super about, maybe 2, but you shouldn't miss more than that once you're practiced at it.
Yeah. Another pretty important thing is that idlechild will have a much slower Mother Brain fight.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that they might still be ahead. It'll depend. We'll see what how much Ruya checks. If Ruya just goes on this, I think he's ahead by a good amount. Because he can baby skip and has a much faster Mother Brain fight.
So they're both in Upper Norfair and similarly far from the entrance they need to get to, which is the Lower Norfair exit.
I think this will come down to whether Ruya... Well, first of all, whether Ruya just goes on this, and second of all, whether Ruya doesn't mess up the Mother Brain fight.
I feel like this path would be slower for idlechild, so this maybe they're checking entrances still.
Okay, yeah.
Giving up a little time to that. And once Ruya made it into Upper Norfair, there weren't really more miners that he could have looked to pick up, having already been through here clearing it out.
Yeah, there's... like, the best one might be Crumble Shaft. But that's really bad. And Ruya entering Torian, I think at 108.25 or so.
Yeah, really have to execute from here
Hmm.
to hold this lead.
It'll mostly just come down to the mother brain fight, but because as long as they get baby skip and yeah, mostly baby skip, they have as an advantage, as well as speed and the escape, which is like another 20 seconds.
Okay, is going for the fast Metroid room strats, but this
He's
means
down
his super
6.
count is not full.
Yeah, this is really... Ruya, you need that super. No, don't powerbomb these. This is disaster.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go back to the elevator from here.
It looks like that's what he was planning on doing, which is an interesting strategy.
Yeah, it kind of gives up all the time save from going through the Metroid rooms quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And more.
But now it's a lot closer. I'll say that.
Yeah, now we're back to idlechild has the slower mother brain fight,
Mm-hmm.
having half the ammo and not super strong beam.
They have slower mother brain fight, they can't baby skip, and they lose 20 seconds on escape. So we'll see if that's enough for Ruya. See what this...
Ruya already has the Metroids cleared out, so you can just run through the rooms.
So this is the equivalent, if without any refills for idlechild, of 28 supers on MB2, which means that a little over half the fight will be charge shots. That's, I think, that's about 50, 53, 54 charge shots,
Yeah,
if they
about
don't
that.
miss it all. So that's probably going to
And
be about,
it's gonna be 53, 54 seconds
yep.
of charge shots.
Which is actually not a full 53, 54 second time loss, because it still takes time to shoot supers, but it's like, probably like 40 seconds of time loss. So yeah,
Yeah.
Ruya is probably still ahead here, if he doesn't mess up the mother brain fight.
Yeah, if he gets this baby escape beam, and then they'll be visibly close.
Mm-hmm. Child needs Ruya to like get the baby slow or something. And it looks like Ruya is playing this very safe.
That is another factor. Can use missiles here and take a missile refill.
Child using a few supers on that first Zeb. Gonna make the fight a little bit longer too.
It makes up some of that time not turning off screw attack.
I think this will look really close once we get to MB3, and then I think Ruya might pull ahead in the escape.
It's just wild the time differences that we still have to see at this final stage of the race.
Yeah, I think Ruya saves like a minute on idlechild from here, so as long as he gets into the fight less than a minute after idlechild did, he should be ahead still.
It does get that Zeb skip. Idlechild firing away. Saving the supers for the catch-up phase, so as soon as he sees a catch-up, just gonna switch to supers and finish the fight.
I actually kind of hate when people do this, what Ruya's doing, just missile MB1 instead of using any supers. Because I think the missiles are much easier to hit during the MB2 fight than they are during MB1. and it's not like you're saving DPS by doing it. But that's kind of something that I just generally feel get upset about a lot.
It's more bothersome when they don't have Ice Beam, and then the Rinkas are like more in their face.
Yeah, and you can see that they're actually even here. Or even Ruya pulling ahead before the escape even.
Ruya setting up stand-up glitch, idlechild not.
Which is strange because idlechild has charge and Ruya does not.
Yeah, so minimal time save for Ruya, but a little bit. Maybe losing a little bit to a couple pauses.
Mm-hmm. Probably losing all the time that he would have saved.
Yeah, it still has to pull off these manips to get the full time save that's available. Ruya can't shoot Mother Brain at all during the stand-up, but can manipulate this detached cutscene part and also the baby going off screen. Here it is, close as a race can get, both in this cutscene. A baby's dying nearly the same time. Hour 15 into the race.
Just pretty interesting because they were synced so much during the race at the beginning too. But then they took such completely different routes. Yeah, if idlechild just hadn't have taken those unfortunate deaths to the Metroid trying to damage down, would have probably won this race.
Yeah, went for the suitless Crystal Flash. Did get it first try, but lost a bit of time on the setup for it. And with just how close this is, we could easily see without those deaths would have been ahead. And here in the escape, Ruya with all the movement items. Speed, high jump, and spring ball all coming out. Double take on the moonfall.
That moonfall is kind of worth setting up for just because it saves really good amount of time. Really hurts when you don't get it.
Yeah, there's not really as many falls as long as that one.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby does not visit the animals today.
And with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 30 seconds, Ruya has finished in first place. GG to Ruya.
That means they'll continue on with a score of 3 wins, 2 losses through this Swiss section of the tournament. An idlechild only a few rooms behind, now coming up on the final screen with the ship. Finishes second place with a 1 hour, 18-minute time, 11 seconds. So GG's
GG.
idlechild.
Yep, GG's to both of these runners, putting on an excellent race today. And it looks like we are joined by both Ruya and idlechild. GG to you two.
Thank you, GG idlechild.
GG's. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah, that was a really interesting race.
Okay, good. Looks like we're not creating an echo today.
You guys were really kind of doing a lot of the same stuff early, and then took wildly different routes somewhere in the middle, and ended up kind of converging again in Torian. But Ruya actually having that both speed and more ammo, where idlechild had a pretty long Mother Brain 2 fight. Both of those things kind of let Ruya end up winning.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really interested to watch this one back, because I thought I played pretty well. Like, this was definitely my best race so far, so I was pretty confident I was ahead. The only real big mistake I made was in Torian. I didn't really think about the fact that I'd need to save my ammo, so I had to go back to the elevator.
Yeah, that definitely made the race a lot closer. But yeah, I think that also idlechild, if you hadn't have died a couple of times to those mock droids, I think you might have pulled this one out too.
I know, that felt bad. You know, midway through the race when I was doing those upper north for hell runs, that is a kryptonite for me. So I was already like, oh geez, this isn't going well. I'm doing hell runs. Then I found that space jump and I realized I could leave. And then I found Varia and I was starting to feel a lot better. It's like, okay, I can skip the rest of Green Bryn now. Maybe make up some time. And because that early charge really helped too. And then those damaging down, I'm sitting there like, I don't remember this being so hard. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have a strat for this. I just totally forgot the strat that I usually do for it. And unfortunately, that was the difference. So obviously feels bad. It did feel a little better catching the end of this race and seeing how close it was in Turian. Like, okay, at least we put on a good show.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm looking forward to watching this back. That's the
yeah, it was a really interesting race overall. Like just filled with back and forths. idlechild finding the charge beam early on. Ruya having speed and high jump for the ending. It was just really cool to see. Your routes were like wildly different, but then you do the same things at the same time. Not that makes any sense.
Yeah, you'd end up at the same places. Like at Green Prince Star, you guys were both there at the same time. You guys were both doing wreck ship at the same time. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that neither of you guys checked Mama Turtle early. I think it made a little bit more sense for idlechild not to check it, just going through for the transitions. But Ruya, you went all the way through that area early and kind of just didn't check it.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thing. I actually wanted to check it. I probably should have, just because I had a ton of E-tanks, so it's not like I would have died if I made a mistake, but I did try to check it suitless with no high jump in a seed a day or two ago, and it was just a disaster. But I probably would have been fine since I had gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all I had was gravity and springbolt at that point, as far as I probably could have gotten to it, but I didn't really want to.
Springbolt jump it can be pretty tough. You can also get to it without any items, with just a powerbomb jump, but that's a lot harder.
Yeah, that's crazy, especially since you were so limited on power bombs for most of the seed. I mean, the second time through, I did have space jump. Like I could have done it then, but like you said, I was going for that transition.
And I think it makes sense to skip that if you're just going for the transition. I was thinking that maybe you would have backed out of once you found Upper Norfair there at that point in the race. In
I don't know
my
where else to go. You talking to me?
yeah, because you could have gone to the top of that Meridia and checked Mama Turtle.
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
Um,
I started
but-
thinking about that afterwards, but then I was like, but I don't have any Batoon access. I mean, it's possible that if I had the 20 power bombs then,
No, I'm not
knowing
talking
that-
about. I'm not talking about East Meridia. I'm talking about the top of West Meridia.
yeah, but
Right.
I kind of felt like if I go to West Meridian and it's a dead end or or get stuck, I was worried about getting stuck too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can completely get stuck with gravity, but it's really annoying to get out of that one transition.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'd had more power bombs, I might have considered that. I have plenty of E-tanks. I just am not good at hell runs. I wasted all my energy.
Yeah, it was tough too because items there that you checked were reserve tank and then space jump, and those are like space jump's nice, but it doesn't help speed up your hell runs really. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't give you that refill. It doesn't like.
that reserve tank. If that had been an E-tank, that would have been a lot better. But I really use that space jump a lot, so I'm happy with finding the space jump.
Mhm.
Especially since I never found high jump or speed. Where was high jump at?
High jump was behind Dragon.
Did Croc have anything? Does anybody know?
Proc Ruya did check. It had Spazer, and I think it was a reserve. It might have been the E-tank though at the E-tank location.
Okay, that was a good nope out. I was feeling good after finding charge. I'm not gonna go with Croc now. But it was like kind of out of the way. I knew if I don't go Croc now, I'm basically never doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a fine skip to try to save some time.
Ruya, you escaped. Live for another week. Hope you can keep it going.
I'll do my best.
Seems like you've had some rough seeds, so I hope you have a little bit more of a faster seed next time.
I'm definitely still learning Rando, so it's tough with the settings changing every week too.
Yeah, it's tough for even like someone like me who has a lot of rando experience to get used to each settings different or each week's different settings. Especially like going from something like Major Minor to Chozo where your mindset just has to be completely different doing those two different modes. And if you start to like slip into a different mindset, then it can just like you can muscle memory yourself into skipping an item or into checking an item that you should know you shouldn't check. So those things definitely do happen. But yeah, GG to you guys. Thanks for the race. It was a really fun one to watch. Do you have any final comments on the seed?
Yeah, just thank you for the comms and the tracking and restream and everything.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, especially with so many races happening at the same time. Was honored to get the restream and happy to put up a good showing here.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's just about gonna do it. Make sure to follow these runners. You can follow the comms as well. Jestrozooks was the tracker. Thank you to Jestrozooks for that. And with that, I think that's all from us, and we will see you guys next time.